and welcome. You're watching Buy and Sell Now. I'm Ankita Saxena. It's a show where we get all your stock-specific questions answered. But before we get going with the show, the most important GST Council meet is underway. We are getting you visuals from Payuvala Keshav, Andhra's Finance Minister. Now, remember, the word coming in from the Finance Minister was that they support Centre's proposition as an alliance partner. Let's go across and take a look at what else are we picking up.
Yeah. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, sir. Please, 8 seconds, sir. Just a moment.
Well, good morning, everybody. The Prime Minister of India on August 15th has announced from the Red Fort that there is going to be a Diwali gift to the people of this great nation. And as an alliance party, we are supporting, from Andhra Pradesh, we are supporting the major reforms in the GST sector which are being proposed by Government of India. Most of them are going to help the common man and poorest of the poor. They are coming from the food sector, education, health, steel, cement, textiles, all the reforms which are being proposed by the Government of India to bring down the burden on the common man. As a Telugu Desam party, President Supremo, Mr. Sri Nara Chandrababu Naidu has taken a stand to support the reforms initiative taken up by the Government of India. Mr. Naidu claims that this is going to be a major step in reviving the poor man's economy, further upbringing the positive change in their lives. In addition to that, it will also expand the Indian economy. So, the Telugu Desam party, headed by Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, has taken a decision to support positively the GST reforms which are being proposed by the Government of India. Thank you.
What about revenue losses? How will you ensure that the revenue losses are met? And also, how will the people of the country actually get the benefit of this?
Yeah, the country gets to benefit. For example, I am not quoting anything officially. If the prices are coming down from 28% to 18% or 5%, definitely it is going to save them at 15%, which is going to, have their savings increase and their
What about
surplus.
a mechanism to ensure that this rate reduction is actually trickled down?
Our intention, see, any reform which is being brought is with a good intention that this is passed on to the customer and consumer ultimately. We all have the common intention, right from Government of India to all the participating states, maybe including the opposition. We have no second stand on the passing on the benefits to the end consumer.
What about revenue losses? How will you meet? How will you meet the revenue?
See, we assume that the state is going to get the lower the multiple economic models. Let's see how this is one major reform which needs to be welcomed by one and all in the country.
So you need a compensation or not?
Pardon? Yeah, I am Payuvala Keshav, Finance Minister of Andhra Pradesh. Yeah.
So are you supporting additional levy?
Pardon?
Any sort of compensation from the
That
All right, so that's the word coming from the Andhra Finance Minister. All eyes on the GST Council meeting that is underway. And remember, the panel has backed scrapping 12% and 28% slabs and moving most of the items to 5%. Or 18%, but luxury goods could attract a steep tax rate of 40%. So that's something that we are eyeing out for the final rates and also the timeline. But to discuss this further and also to take all your stock-specific queries, we are now joined by Shahina Mukaddam, who's an independent analyst, and also Hemen Kaparia, who's the technical associate DR Choksi FinServ. Hi, both of you. Very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hemen, sir, let me come to you first. Before we get started with all the queries, your first thoughts on the GST Council meeting that is underway. What is the impact likely to be over the next 2-3 days? And which is the basket that you are preferring within the consumption space? Any particular pockets that you're liking at this point?
A very good morning to you. Thank you for having me on the show, Kanishka. And good morning to you, Ankita, also. I guess it's good for consumers because GST rationalization was overdue needed. But I feel that 40% shouldn't have been there. Nothing should be taxed at 40%, say not no said. But yes, a trickle-down effect would be good. It would take time for this thing to percolate down to consumers. But yes, welcome step the way I see it. As of now, the FMCG index is looking promising. So is it sensing these GST proposals and their good effect on the consumers? And normally, frankly speaking, Kanishka, if you see whenever the FMCG index goes up, a market doesn't go up. So that is how it is. Otherwise, we've gone nowhere in a range between 24,800 and 23,800. Nothing much happening. So I'd say stock specific, but yeah, I think this GST thing finally should help a lot of people, including you and me.
All right. Himen, thank you so much for getting in your view on that. But let's get started with the shows. All our viewers have been sending in questions, and we will be very soon starting with live questions as well. Our viewers, it's a good news that you will be invited on the show either by way of call or a Zoom call even. And we will get your questions answered live by our guests. So watch out for this space and keep sending in your questions. The number is flashing on your screens. You can send in your stock-related questions, the buying price, the holding period, and we'll get them answered by our experts. So without further ado, let's get started with today's first question that's coming in from Jayesh, who's writing in from Mumbai. He's purchased 5,000 shares of Vedanta. He's bought 4 at 499 for the long term. He wants to know if he can buy more at current market price, as he would like to purchase up to 10,000 odd quantities. Himen, is this the right price to get into Vedanta? He's bought it at 499. For the long term, he wants to buy more. Good time to average in?
Yeah, it makes sense. But just one point. For the past 1 year, Vedanta has done nothing. We've been in a range between 360 and 520. I know it's a very big range, but we've been in this range for the last 1 year and counting. So nothing spectacular expected, but yes, I think 420 is very strong support. The picture doesn't look bad. It seems like we are in an uptrend, but it could take some more time to consolidate. So yeah, averaging at current and maybe slightly lower levels. Markets are not very copacetic to go the whole hog now as far as buying in $1. 420, 405, 385 levels you can keep in mind to average.
All right, so that's the view on Vedanta. But moving on to the next query then, this viewer, Sudha, she's a long-term investor and she has stocks of Triveni Turbines. She's sitting with a loss of 12% over there. And SBI Cards, she has been sitting with a loss of 18% in the past 2 months. And she's also bought Colgate and Hexaware Tech. So Shahina, let me come to you. She's all, got all these stocks. What would your suggestion be? Should she book out the losses and, get into some other stocks? Or do you think the long-term story is intact for Triveni Turbines and SBI Cards? And other than that, she's also bought Colgate and Hexaware Technology. So what's your view there?
So let's take Triveni Turbine. So for now, I think Triveni Turbine she can hold as of now. Basically, it is in terms of valuation, it is a bit expensive, but I think the overall sugar industry is starting to look up because of the changes that are happening in methanol. So I think that could be a hold. SBI Cards, I would suggest she shifts from SBI Cards to even SBI for that matter. I think there the cost of funds is going to be higher for SBI Cards. So I would suggest a shift from SBI Cards to SBI. Hexaware is a good, mid-cap IT stock, while the overall sector is not really doing that well. I think Hexaware could still, after the relisting of Hexaware, it's expected to do reasonably well, both in terms of growth, while the overall growth for the sector would be in single digits, including Hexaware. But I think you could hold Hexaware at current levels. The fourth stock was?
Colgate Palmolive.
Colgate Palmolive. Yeah, I think let's hope that the changes in GST will help Colgate to increase volumes, which have been pretty dull. So as of now, you can hold review, post the GST, and you can use that bounce to switch from Colgate to some other FMCG. But as of now, it's a hold, of course.
Right, so those were a couple of stocks there, but let's move on to the next question. This is coming from Patna, Bihar by Pushkar Saxena. He says he's bought a Maruti Suzuki at a buying price of 4,476. He wants to know about the future prospects in view of the recent EV venture that, of course, PM Modi announced in Gujarat. His time horizon is for the longer period. Let me come to him. Maruti Suzuki, what are you penciling in for Maruti Suzuki here? Of course, it is a strong EV play, EV export that is coming into play as far as Maruti is concerned. The auto pack has been an outperformer, but particularly for Maruti, what do you see on the charts?
Good is good. Frankly speaking, I had recommended Maruti a few weeks back on the same show. Thing is, 11,000 to 15,000 6 months, mainline stock, big move, bullish gap. I'd say everything is hunky-dory for the longer term, but buying fresh doesn't make sense. If there's a holding, I think the investor has a holding. I think hold on, we are heading towards 18,000, but this is not a short-term call. It's going to take time. And yes, like you mentioned, the auto index has given a breakout. It's a clear outperformer in a wobbly or a market which is going nowhere. And auto has done well. Maruti and few other stocks have posted fresh all-time high. So standalone auto looks good, and within the sector, Maruti was a standout. But like I said, the move has been very sharp. And wait for a cool off. Holding, hold.
All right, so that's about Maruti Suzuki. But moving on to the next query then, this is Ramya writing from Chennai. She's been holding 30 shares of Hindalco at a price of 476. She says it's a small quantity, so should she consider selling them at the current levels? Hemantha, you want to take this one?
I was happy you asked me this because I have a view on this, Kanishka. We spent almost 8 months around here. 713 is an important weekly resistance level. We are on Wednesday, 2 trading sessions more. So we haven't been able to overcome 713 despite 4 or 5 attempts. And now, okay, we are above that today. We need a Friday closing, and it looks like doing that. So don't expect fireworks, but it looks good. Hold on. If it closes above 713 on the weekly chart on Friday, that means the breakout has come in. We should be gravitating.
We'll be right back with all the queries, but we have some live visuals coming in from the GST meet. Remember, the council has kicked off the meeting. It's going to be a 2-day meeting today and tomorrow. Of course, we are eyeing out for the actual tax slab rates that are expected to come in. Remember, the panel has been backing 12% and 28% scrapping of these two slabs, and most items are likely to be moved to 5% and 18%. But luxury goods, they are the key to watch for, as the proposed tax on luxury goods is 40%. So let's see how that pans out, and also what's going to be the timeline of the implementation of these GST rate cuts. So let's watch out for all the outcome that we'll have probably tomorrow once the meeting concludes. All right, then let's get back to all the queries. Hemantha, we were talking about Hindalco. I'm sorry to have interrupted you then.
No, absolutely fine. So like I said, hold on. 713 is important. We are on the verge of taking that out. We are heading towards 770. Looks good even from a medium to longer term point of view. So simple answer to the investor, hold. I'd say it's a decent or a strong hold in a shaky market.
All right, that's Hindalco on the screens, and we'll get them answered. Let's get going with all the stocks that you have been sending us. Well, the next question here is coming from Krish, who's writing in. He's writing in from Kolkata. He says he has Gillette. He's bought it at a buying price of 10,100 rupees. He wants to know that he wants to keep the stock as a part of the core portfolio, and he wants to add on every dip. What is your suggestion? Please advise. Let me come to you for this one, Shaina. What would you think about Gillette India, buy on every dip, and he wants to keep it as a part of the core portfolio, perhaps for a longer period of time, say a time horizon of 1 to 2 years?
Well, it's good that he's got a long-term horizon, because in the near-term, valuations are extremely expensive. Having said that, yes, I think that the brand is strong. So he can actually, I would prefer if he buys it at depth because of the expensive valuations. So I would prefer if he can buy it somewhere close to around 9,000 rather than current levels, and then he can hold it for the longer term.
You on Gillette India. But moving on to the next query then, this one is coming from NSS Lakshmi, who's writing in from Vijayawada. Her query is that she's purchased Radico Khaitan shares, 200 shares at a price of 100 rupees. She wants to know whether she should book the profit or should she continue to hold for a relatively longer period of time. Yeah, she's been sitting at a lot of profit, of course, Hemantha.
Well, I see it, Kanishka, it's a 10-year uptrend, approximately. Yeah. and nothing seems to change. What I mean to say is that we are safely ensconced in a longer term uptrend. So I don't see a cause for concern. Simple answer, hold.
Hold on, Radico Khaitan, and it's in a 10-year uptrend, and you see no reason why she should be getting out of the stock. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. This is Nikhil Sharma, who's writing from Mumbai. He says he's an intraday trader, and he wants to know your view on Zensar Tech. He's bought it at a buying price of 862 rupees with a target that he had predicted for 965. Would we get there anytime soon, or should I exit the stock? Himit, let me come to you for this question. He's bought it at 862 and he's targeting 965. Do you see this happening anytime soon? He's not given the time horizon though. I believe that that would be of essence, but he's a short-term trader, he says, so perhaps a 6-month time frame.
We are in an intermediate downtrend. Strong support at 760 and 720. At least in the near term, I don't see anything very compelling. Having said that, I'll contradict myself only. Oversold, deeply oversold. So a recovery is around the corner, but his level, at least maybe in his time frame, he'd get his level back 6 months or so. Anything lesser than that, we'd have to review later. But currently, it looks like giving a short-term bounce. The medium-term picture still remains bearish.
Okay, so that's the view on Zensar Tech. But moving on to the next query, Shaina, let me come to you. This one is coming from Amrinder Kumar, who has written from Noida. He's been holding 10 shares of Grindwell at a price of 2,050 rupees. He wants to know whether he should continue to hold or what should he do at this juncture. He can wait for a period of about 1 year. So how are the fundamentals looking like for this company, Grindwell, to you?
As of now, I think it looks a bit. I think it is better that he switches from Grindwell because, as you saw, they don't seem to be doing too well in terms of their performance. The last quarter was actually a bit flat on profit levels as well as on the revenue. So I think for the next 6 months and odd, it would be better that he can exit and get into some other stock from instead of Grindwell.
So that's the view coming on Grindwell. Let's move on to the next question. This is coming from Bharti from Hyderabad. She says she wants some suggestions on mid and small cap ideas for the longer term. Shaina, let me come to you now. This one is a tricky one. Mid and small caps. Now, in the last few, at least for the last 2-3 sessions, mid and small caps are really holding the fort, even though, the frontline indices have been trading in a range, but they seem to be doing a tad better, certain outperformance coming there. What would be your picks? Because there are certain pockets that are still frothy in terms of valuation.
Yeah, so I would go with some sectors which still show momentum. For example, hotels. Now, if you're looking for a smaller stock in the hotel segment, you can look at EIH Hotels. Lemon Tree, I believe you could look at. Then you have in the, say Shakti Pumps is another stock. I think that could benefit from the changes in the GST that, hopefully we will see a lower rate of GST for some of those consumers. That's a small cap stock. You could look at something else like Heritage Foods. There also, I believe, some of the FMCG stocks which will benefit. One is because you have inflation that has come off substantially, and also in terms of GST, when you have lower GST, I think the rural market should improve, and you could see better revenues coming in and improvement in margins going forward. So I think in defense, you could look at something like Cyan DLM. It's again a small cap stock, small mid cap stock. And there, I believe, while numbers were not good Q1, but going forward, I think in terms of defense, once the revenues start kicking in 1 year down the line, I think that could be a stock that you could look at. So it's a combination of various elements. You could actually build a portfolio and hold it for the medium to longer term to get a good return in the smaller stocks.
With me is Kanishka Sarkar, and this is the show where we get all your stock-specific questions answered. The number is flashing on top of the screens. And remember, viewers, very soon we're going to get started with the live queries, and you can write in to us if you're interested in getting featured on the show on the same number that's flashing on top of your screens, and we'll have your questions answered live on our show. But let's resume with all the questions then that have been trickling in. This one's coming from Ravi Chandran, who's writing in from Bangalore. He says he's bought Suzlon at 58 shares. For 1,400, can he hold or sell? Himen, what would be your view on Suzlon? That is, he's bought it at a buying price of, I think, 58 rupees is what he said. So at this juncture, he's not given a time horizon. So for the next 1 odd year, what would be your outlook?
I would be a hold, and if his outlook is 3 years or more, I'd say buy at low levels. We've had a phenomenal run up. Everything is fine. We walked into a deeper time price retracement. The setup is positive. Don't see too much of a downside. Patience is needed. So yes, hold as of now. Add more on a decline only if he has a longer term view.
Call on Suzlon Energy for the longer term. But moving on to the next query then. This is coming from Gurbakh Singh, who's writing in from Nagpur. His query is on Bajaj Finance. He has 35 shares of Bajaj Finance at a price of 895 rupees. He can hold for a period of 1 year. Shahina, what would you advise? Should he continue holding?
Yeah, it's advisable to continue to holding because it's one of the better stocks in the NBFC. And after a period of time, now the valuations have started looking more in line with some of the other, I would say, banks, large NBFCs. So it's a hold.
So it's a hold call coming in on Bajaj Finance. But let's move on to the next question. This is Megha, who's living in the UAE. She's writing to us. She says she's a regular viewer. Thank you so much, Megha, for writing in and watching our show every day. In fact, now you can be a live viewer as well, a live caller as well. So write in to us if you would like to participate in the show. The stock question is that she wants to know if Praj Industries, she's bought it at a buying price of 534 rupees. Is it a good time to average? And also Titagarh, that she's bought at an average price of 1,175. Good time to start averaging in on these counters. Himen, Praj Industries and Titagarh.
Praj Industries is in a medium and longer term downtrend. Short term oversold. There was a volume spike yesterday. So a bounce is underway. But the bigger picture, I have a feeling it will take time to play out. So I don't think there's any rush in averaging now. Let the stock stabilize. Maybe we might be a bit late, but let it stabilize, form a base, and then look at higher top, higher bottom. Currently, we're not there. We sort of just trying to hang on to levels and stabilize. So no. As far as Titagarh is concerned, this looks relatively much better. Not fair to compare stocks. We've been corrective in the sense, I mean, most of the rail stocks, defense, PSUs have had a phenomenal move. They've moved 10, 20 times. So yeah, we have to pay a penalty for that in terms of a time price retracement. 655, though far is very strong support. We need to take out 974 as of now. Hold, I believe we are forming a base on the medium term. So a slightly medium to longer term point of view, Titagarh does look good, and an even longer term point of view, even better.
So that's the view on Titagarh Rail. But moving on to the next counter, Shahina, let me come to you for this one. This is Ekambaria writing from Hyderabad. He's been holding 200 shares of Yatharth Hospital at a price of 560 rupees. He wants to know whether he should continue to hold. He has been sitting at a profit of nearly 25% is what he says. And he wants to know, should he book some profit and instead put some money in stocks like RIL or L&T, the big boys. So what is your view? Should he continue to hold Yatharth, or should he book out some profit and put in the money in L&T or RIL?
I would suggest that he can take some money off the table. And I would say L&T looks better at current levels, even RIL. But RIL is seeing a bit of uncertainty because we are not sure in what format Geo will be listed, whether it is going to be a demerger or whether it will be an IPO. So to that extent, I think L&T would be a better bet. But even RIL, I think at any dips you can keep adding and hold it for a 3-year period.
All right, moving on then to the next question is coming in from V. Pichai. He says he has 100 shares of Varun Beverages that he has bought at a buying price of 617. for his portfolio, whether or not to hold it or knock off at a loss. He's sitting at a loss. He's not given the time horizon. I would request viewers to also give us the time frame to get a better judgment on this. Himen, let me come to you for Varun Beverages. Now, Varun Beverages is, fundamentally it's a strong stock to hold. But say from a 1 year perspective, what would be your view on this? He's clearly sitting at a loss right now.
As of now, it's a hold. Maybe it's a little bit late on the day. Little bit of input to the investor. If the stock goes up 10, 15, 20 times in 3, 4, 5 years, avoid valuations. It runs up before valuation. It takes time, even though it may be a great company. So as of now, Varun Beverages had a phenomenal move. It moved from sub 50 to 650 plus in the last 5.5, 6 years. So that's the bigger picture. Currently, strong support, base formation. I'm not saying his cost comes back in a jiffy, but he needs to hold. At least the loss will be reduced in case he decides to exit. Few levels to keep an eye on: 480, 450 support. A close above 520 on the weekly chart should take it to 570. That's where he can book profits, assuming the time frame is a year or less. So, I mean, as of now, it's a hold because the medium term, the worst is over.
All right, so a hold call coming on Varun Beverages, but moving on to the next counter, that is Ashok Leyland. This is Venkat Ramani writing from Bangalore. His query is that he's been holding 800 shares of Ashok Leyland at a price of 100 rupees, and he's obviously been making a lot of profit. He wants to know whether he should continue to hold or should he buy more at the current levels for a period of about 18 months is what he's looking to hold this stock for. Shaina, what is your view? What's the fundamental view for Ashok Leyland?
Yeah, I think it's doing pretty well in terms of both its volume growth, and even the expectations are that it would benefit from the lower GST. And I would say you could continue to hold. You can keep a stop loss close to about 120 if you like. But otherwise, it's a good stock to hold and hold for the medium to longer term.
So that's the view coming on Ashok Leyland. But with that, let's resume with all the questions that you've been sending us. First one now is from Narayana Reddy from Warangal. He says he's bought 90 shares of Trent at a buying price of 6,500 and 50 shares of Bajaj Auto at a buying price of 9,500. He wants to know the short-term targets for these. Himen, coming to you. Trent, what would be a short-term target? And Bajaj Auto, what would be a target for this as well?
Trend is moving sideways, not very exciting. Things begin to look up only after we take out 5,600. So I believe 5,600 could be a target, but before that, a stop loss needs to be in place. Close below 5,125 would negate the impending positives. Bajaj Auto much better, has had a decent correction. Auto sector looking good. The thing is, we've run up from 7,900 to 9,100. That's more than 1,000 points further upside possible. Support at 9,000, 9,200, 9,400, two targets for Bajaj Auto.
We on Trent and Bajaj Auto. But moving on to the next query then, this one is coming from Deepak Dave, who's a senior citizen writing in from Gandhinagar. He has 400 shares of Afcons Infra at a price of 456 rupees. Shahina, he wants to know whether he should add more at the current levels, hold or exit at this point.
I would believe that it is better to hold at current levels, don't add. Basically, I would say that if he wants to add, he should look at, at least 50 rupees lower from current levels. I would say something like a 380, 390 type of levels. Even closer to 400 would be better levels to add. The stock has actually corrected a lot if you see the last 1 odd year. So from this levels, it could consolidate a bit before you see any up move. Even the numbers were not that good for the quarter. So I think it's better to average at lower levels.
All right. So that's Afcons. But let's move on to the next question. This is coming from Govind from Hyderabad. He says he's bought 6,000 shares of GMR Power at a buying price of 125 rupees. Can he average in or book loss? Or should he be holding it for the next 2 to 3 years? So he's willing to hold it also. But Himen, would you suggest that, or would you suggest booking losses at current levels?
Holding makes sense. We seem to be in a pause in a longer term up move, but be prepared to see 100 or 90 before things start improving for the better. But yeah, longer term point of view, it does look promising.
Okay, so that's the view on GMR Power. But moving on to the next query then, this one is coming from Srinivas, who's writing from Hyderabad. He's been holding 1,000 shares of Shriram Finance at a price of 650 rupees. Can he sell or hold, or should he average at the current levels? Amin, sir, you want to take this one?
Yes, if it's a holding period is 3 years or more, I think it's a buy at 500. If you have the patience and the capacity to witness some more downside below 566, then it's a clear hold. Otherwise, it's a sell on bounce. The longer term time frame dictates this move.
All right, so that's the word coming in on Shriram Finance. But let's move on to another counter from the same pack is Five-Star Business Finance. This is Natrajan who's writing it from Tamil Nadu. He has 1,500 shares of Five-Star at a buying price of 650 rupees. He wants to hold it for the longer term. Shaina, for the longer term, what would be your call on Five-Star Business?
I would suggest if he wants to be in this segment, it's better to be in LIC rather than Five-Star. There are things happening, even HDFC AMC. So I would not prefer Five-Star versus some of the other larger stocks. So it's a switch.
Okay, so it's better to switch. You could look at an LIC. But moving on to the next counter, this is Sita writing from Hyderabad. She wants to know what are the future and long-term prospects for Bajaj Steel. She's been holding 619 shares at a price of 585 rupees. Hemant sir, you want to take this one?
I'll pass it on. I don't track Bajaj Steel, Kanishka.
Okay. Shaina, you want to take this one? As it's a long-term query, what are the fundamentals looking like for Bajaj Steel?
Bajaj Steel, it's a small cap. I would say that it is a hold at current levels because you have some bit of protection that is come in by the government. You have the 12% protection that is there for import duty. And I would say that, after the correction, it seems to be doing reasonably well. So he can hold, he can keep a stop loss close to about 480.
All right, so that's the view coming in. Let's move on to the next question that's coming in from Govind, who's right. So I beg your pardon, I think we've already done this. Let's go on to the next question who's coming from Nivendu Sharma. He's writing in from Patna. He wants to know about KNR Constructions. His holding period is 1 to 3 years. He wants to know the fundamental prospectus and wants to know if he can. He wants to know if he can accumulate more at the current levels. Let me come to you for this one.
20 to 420. It takes a few years to recover from such a super move. As of now, there's strong support comes in at 190. Downside does appear limited. We've come up from 410 over the last year or so. So we remain in a medium to longer term downtrend. Getting oversold, base formation in place. Further out downside till 180 possible. So yeah, from a longer term point of view, I think it's a hold because this still seems like a correction within a bigger move uptrend. But yeah, anything lesser than 3 years, it's a sell on bounce.
KNR Construction. But moving on to the next question then, Shaina, let me come to you for this one. This is Manoj writing in from Mumbai. He's bought Blue Jet Healthcare shares, 300 shares at a price of 875 rupees. He wants to know what's the future looking like. What are the long-term prospects for this stock?
I'll pass it. I don't track it.
Okay, Hemant sir, do you track it? Possible to give us a chart check there?
Yeah, but a small caveat, it's a relatively new listing. It's just 1.5 years or maybe a year or more of data. So need to keep that in mind, not enough data. But yeah, short-term oversold, there is support at 625 and there is a whole congestion area at 600. So downside does appear limited. The weekly picture has taken a hit. So as a longer term chart. So we are oversold on the shorter term, a bounce is underway. And that's that, nothing beyond that at the moment.
Right, that's the view on Blue Jet Healthcare. Hemant and Sharmila, thank you so much. Shaina, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us.